On today's show, everyone is jumping on my multi-processor Mac idea. Apple's own modems are coming to 2023 iPhones. Apple's self-driving future. iCloud time machine. Full-screen iPhone SE. Gifting Mac Minis. Patreon. In-car HomePod Minis. Screen recording with audio on Macs. Apple Watch designs. M2 MacBooks and Apple branded fabric. All sponsored by Private Internet Access. privateinternetaccess.com/Icave Dave for my special 4 months free deal. And before we get into the main show, I'm Icave Dave. I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. And if you want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours every weekday at 12 UTC, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, because this Saturday, 3 p.m. UTC, 1500 UTC, which is I think 10 a.m. New York time, just as a bit of a guide, we are going to be doing the live stream for 10,000 subscribers. So if you want to be featured on the t-shirt, Memojis, send them to me, whether it's Instagram DMs or Twitter DMs, or email them to me, david@sangwells.co.uk. You can do it any of those ways. Get them to me and they will be featured in the t-shirt design. This is your last chance. I'm going to be doing the t-shirt design very, very soon. I will set up the stream so that you guys can find it and you can set a reminder for it. We're going to be rating every Apple product ever. And I need you guys to come on the live stream, help me out with doing the ratings, because there's a lot of stuff to get through. I'm trying to compile a list of everything at the moment. That's taking a while. But let's get into the news. First up, it seems like every YouTuber that talks about Apple stuff is now talking about multiple SoCs in the Mac Pro and in the iMac Pro, which is exciting because this is something that I think I probably spoke about first last November when the first Apple Silicon arrived. I said that I think the Mac Pros would probably use multiple SoCs, and I kind of referenced it back to the G5 Power Macs, which you used to be able to get a dual processor version, so it was two 1.8 gigahertz G5s, I think, inside. Pretty impressive stuff, but I think I was the first person to talk about it. If you know of anyone that was talking about multiple SoCs in Apple Silicon before me, please let me know. I need to go back through the videos and find out when I first said it, because I'm going to just take that as a win if that's the case. It does look like there's evidence that the M1 Max chips are kind of built according to the Linux project that's trying to port Linux over to the M1 platform. It looks like they found evidence that they are set up to work in pairs, but not necessarily in four SoC configurations. That's interesting. It does also look like the bottom half or the bottom third of the SoC is basically mirrored from the middle third. So it could be that they just add another processor core on the bottom. I'm not quite sure. It's very, very confusing the way that these are set up. But that bottom chunk looks very much where you've got the extra 16 graphics cores, like it's basically a mirror image of what's above it, because there's also what looks like another neural engine in there, which doesn't seem to be active at the moment in the M1 Max. So that's something else that could potentially be activated later, or with some sort of firmware update, I guess. Or it could just be there because it was an easier way of kind of passing those dies on. I'm not 100% sure, but it's interesting nonetheless. We are going to be talking a lot more towards the end of the show about the fabric that's going to go between the different cores, so we will come to that. But we also need to talk about Apple's own modems that are coming to the iPhones in 2023. It looks like Qualcomm is preparing to only produce around about 20% of the modems that are going to be going into Apple's iPhones that year. So we're talking iPhone 15 here. I know it's crazy far out, but it's interesting nonetheless. And this is because Apple bought Intel's modem business a few years ago now, and I thought it was going to be going into the iPads first, most likely because they're probably less mission critical for a first step. And I think we had a question on Icave Answers a couple of days ago about these modems as well. And it looks like it's happening. It looks like Apple is ready to roll these out in the iPhone 15. Now, it could be that we see some of Apple's modems coming in a phone before that, maybe an iPhone SE. Again, going to be talking about those later on in the show. But my guess would be that when they say that Qualcomm will still be producing 20% of the modems, it might well be that that is for an SE iPhone, and that the iPhone 15 lineup all uses Apple's own modem chips by then. Very interesting. Don't know what impact that will have. Probably lower cost for Apple, almost certainly, and probably lower power requirements, so less drain on the battery when you're using 5G, etc. But let's get into your Icave answers. As usual, Daniel Corby asks, this is from Twitter, Icave answers, hashtag Apple car, commercial or fleet vehicle? I think one rumour was that it would just be a self-driving shuttle type car. Can you speculate? And this is really interesting actually, because we have no idea what a car from Apple would look like. There's been huge numbers of outlandish concepts done. There's been stuff that looks like Formula One cars, which obviously probably not particularly practical. I think if Apple's going to do this, it's going to be something that is very, very practical. It's going to be something that solves problems that we didn't know we had at the time, and that actually makes a lot of sense, that it could be something that is pure self-driving. It doesn't have even a steering wheel. It only works in a self-driving mode, which I think would be terrifying for everyone to begin with, and then after like 2 years, everyone will be like, it's weird that we used to have steering wheels. Yes, I think it might be that this becomes a fleet car type thing, so not even like being sold to companies, but maybe operated by Apple or an Apple subsidiary that basically runs an Uber-style service, purely using their own vehicles. Maybe it is something that is sold to companies first to transport their own workers to and from work. Maybe it's something that runs as shuttle buses. It's very difficult to know at this point, but I don't think any of the concepts that we've seen are probably anything close. Doug Willis asks, Icave answers, strange how you mentioned that Apple are pro wireless solutions, yet they still do not offer iCloud options for Time Machine. Yeah, that is a real weird thing that Apple is doing. Time Machine is still something you can only do on local drives. Now, you can do it on a local drive that's not necessarily attached to your Mac, something that's attached over your network. You can do it that way. And I did look into the possibility of, can you actually send your Time Machine backups to iCloud? Doesn't look like that would work either, because obviously the Time Machine backup needs to be accessible easily by the Mac. So yeah, you're right, it doesn't. However, pretty much all of the important stuff on your Mac is backed up there. So your photos, your documents, your desktop files, pretty much everything. What you don't get the option to do is do that kind of going back in time and looking for changes, which Time Machine does. That could be something that they bring to the cloud. That would be really interesting. But yeah, right now, not a thing that they offer, which is strange, especially since our iDevices are all backed up directly to iCloud. Alan B Unboxings and News asks, Icave answers, hey Dave, how you doing? Do you think Apple will ever launch an iPhone SE but full screen with MagSafe 3 connection for charging, and Apple adding some exclusive MagSafe headphones that come inside the box, and Apple letting you charge your iPhone SE with a 140 watt power adapter? And then you ask again about the MagSafe headphones. Now, when you're talking about MagSafe 3, I'm guessing you mean the one that's on the Mac. I don't think that Apple would put that on an iPhone, certainly not on an SE specifically. If we're going to get it, we're going to get MagSafe, and it's going to be the puck at the back. Full screen iPhone SE, I think, is a possibility. We've had conflicting reports, though, from Ross Young, Ross Displayman, who has said that Apple is looking to launch an SE Plus, but still with a 4.7-inch screen, which is not what the Plus has been in the past. So it's a little bit confusing on that front. There have also been reports of the iPhone 10R body, or the 11 body, coming to an SE model using an LCD display instead of an OLED display, which maybe they could, maybe they won't. It's very difficult to know at this point. But Ross is definitely saying that we're looking at a 4.7-inch display, which is what we have right now with the existing Touch ID sensors. In terms of MagSafe headphones, absolutely not. We have AirPods now. I don't think Apple is interested in wired headphones in any real way, shape or form. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. Tech Hype asks, Icave answers, I'm thinking about gifting a base model M1 Mac Mini to my loved one, and I wonder if it's worth buying for school and casual Photoshop, as I think you're using the base Mac Mini. Now, it's really nice that you want to get your mum a present. Yeah, the base Mac Mini has been fantastic for me. Photoshop, absolutely fine. Video editing, absolutely fine. Everything. I mean, I've literally run into no roadblocks with using this as my main computer for doing all of the videos that we do, for doing live streaming, for doing the works. Like, it's just a great computer. Go right ahead. Your mum's going to love it. Team Kinetics asks, I gave answers. As you're currently a full-time YouTuber, fun-employed, would you consider Patreon crowdfunding or premium content? I'm sure a few of the Icave dwellers would happily support something premium. And this is something that's been mooted in the past. Admittedly, I had jobs at the time. I mean, I'm open to doing a Patreon or something like that. However, I don't want to minimise what we do already on the channel. I don't want that to drop down at all. I don't know what I would add as premium content. I don't know what you guys would be looking for. But if you've got any ideas, let me know down in the comments. It could be extra live streams. It could be, supporter chats that we do. You could get some input. Maybe you could get, like, your Icave answers put earlier in the shows. I don't know. We are going to get to the point soon where the Icave answers, we are not going to be able to do every single one, which is a great problem to have. I love the fact that we're getting these questions put in every day, but we are getting to the point where I'm having like 15 to 20 questions on each show. It's either going to have to become its own show, or we're going to have to do something where its supporter ones are prioritized, maybe. I don't know what it looks like. I don't want to alienate anyone by doing it, so having like anyone feeling like a second-class citizen because they're not paying for something. Like, that's not what I want this to become, but I don't know. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. Would you want to do it? I don't know. And next up, Marcin Kowalczyk, Icave answers. Go mobile, hashtag CarPod Mini. Hashtag CarPod Mini. I wonder how it would sound if instead of a car stereo, one would just put a HomePod Mini on top of the dash and run it off the lighter port. Yes, there are 20-watt USB car chargers, I checked. Just imagine an orange one just riding with the music. Okay, Marcin, you are getting crazy at this point. Yeah, I mean, it would probably work. I also wondered if you could maybe get a battery pack and carry your HomePod minis around with you, run them off just, like the USB battery packs. I'm guessing it could be done. You're going to have to tether your HomePod to an iPhone on a personal hotspot, I guess, because it's pure Wi-Fi, so it doesn't have its own streaming. I guess it could work. I would think it would sound pretty terrible because it's not going to be attached down very well, but yeah, I guess. L Christian 771 asks, Icave answers, hi Dave, I used to do a lot of screen recording on my iPhone and iPad. I could choose whether I wanted the microphone to record my voice and the device sounds, or no microphone, so it will only record the device sounds. Now I've started using my MacBook Air and I can record my voice and the device sounds, but if I turn the microphone off, it won't record my voice or the device sounds. Do you know why this happens? Do you know any possible way to record device sounds without voice on a Mac? Yes, there are ways to do it, but you do need to do a little workaround. There used to be a program called Soundflower, which I used on my 2013 iMac, and this was when we had to really work around to do any sort of podcast recording or anything like that, because if you wanted to record both sides of a Skype call from one Mac, you had to plumb it through in all sorts of ways. Now, I believe that Soundflower has been discontinued, but there is a replacement which is called Black Hole, and you can find it at existential.audio/Black Hole. I haven't used it, full disclosure, but it seems to be the best reviewed one that I can find as an alternative for Soundflower. Hope that helps. My assumption is that the system audio will basically just appear then as like a mic input that you can do on a screen recording. Fingers crossed for you. James Apple asks, will they keep the Frankenstein design of the Apple Watch Series 7 for the next 3 years? Because I like my squared off edges. Apple Watch over the current design. Hashtag Icave answers. As we mentioned on a show a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, don't know. It really depends on what the issue was that they came to in production. If it's something that they can get around, then I would guess that they will use it because it looked awesome and we all wanted it. And I don't think anyone was like, oh my god, the new Apple Watch Series 7 is the best design I've ever seen. It looks like the old one, it's got a slightly bigger screen in it, and they put a bigger display glass on it so it won't break as much. I feel like this might have been the rugged design that we'd been hearing about, and they kind of just went, okay, we'll just do that one, get something out. That's what it feels like. Dragons in Genesis podcast asks, Icave answers, do you think the colourful M2 laptops of 2022 will be called MacBook, MacBook Air or iBook? Which do you think it will be and which do you hope it will be? I've got to say, I hope with all of my being that it's iBook, because I just love the fact that Apple is revisiting all of this retro stuff, and we're going to be talking so much retro stuff this weekend, it's going to be untrue. I might have to raid the attic and fill my room with some more things. That would be cool. I've got some cinema displays up there. I've got all sorts of old Apple gear that we could probably get down for when we're doing this this event. So, yeah, I really hope they call it iBook. I really don't think they will call it iBook. I think Apple has pretty much stopped producing anything with an I at the beginning. The only things that they do is the legacy stuff that already exists. So iPhone, iPod, still just about hanging on there. iPad, because they all came out around about the same kind of generation of stuff. iMac. That's all of our i stuff now, right? I know we have iSight cameras, or they were called iSight cameras in the Macs for a little while, and then I think they changed their mind and decided not to, and then they called the back one on the iPhone the iSight camera for like one generation, and then just called it the camera again, which is probably the best bet. Probably a good move. So what do I think it will be called? I think the slimmer, colourful ones will probably be MacBook Air. But if we get the titanium one, and then the slim ones that are just colours and basic Macs are called MacBooks, I'd be really happy with that too. Evan Rogers asks, Icave answers, with the recent rumours of a Duo Die M chip in the iMac Pro, what do you think Apple will call their Infinity Fabric? It's an AMD trademark. I'm going to go ahead and coin Magic Fabric. Magic Fabric, not a bad idea. I know Apple has called it Fabric, and I feel like they might not even brand it. They might just call it our high-speed fabric or Pro Fabric or something like that. But yeah, whether they'll even call it Fabric in the final things when you've got these like behemoth designs put together, I don't know. The iMac Pro, I've still got this weird feeling that because we've heard from Ross Displayman that we're getting a 27-inch iMac with the Pro chips inside, I think that's just going to be called iMac, and maybe we are going to get a 32-inch iMac Pro. I think there might be 3 sizes. I don't think we're going to just see a 24 and a 27. That just seems a bit too close, but maybe 24, 27, 32. Or 24, 27, 30. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Today's sponsor is Private Internet Access, the world's most transparent VPN provider, with over 30 million downloads. It's a simple-to-use VPN that works with your Mac, iPhone, iPad, and even those PC things and Android phones, routing all of your traffic through a secured tunnel to hide your IP address and keep what you're doing private. And let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you're probably using the devices you are because you value your privacy. Private Internet Access hides your network data from everyone, from your internet service provider or network administrator to government censors. And it's the most customizable on the market, letting you set custom rules for different websites and offering no bandwidth restrictions or speed throttling so you can stream, upload, and download to your heart's content privately. And my favourite part is that it's 100% open source, so if you're one of those clever people who knows what you're actually looking at, it's easy to verify that everything is above board from the open GitHub repositories. No user data is stored, and PIA's no-log policy has been proven in court multiple times. So get your 3-year subscription with 4 extra months absolutely free for only $1.98 a month. That's 83% off only by visiting privateinternetaccess.com/iCaveDave, as this offer is exclusive for you guys and it's risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support. So why wait? Thank you all so much for watching this show, guys. Don't forget to set your reminders for the live stream on Saturday. It's provisionally 3 PM. That's when we're planning. Might change, but if you set the reminder, you will get notified of the change too. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you in the next one.